Hi, I'm here to talk about my time in Atlanta Pride.
Touchdown to Heathrow, DP and me, bro. About to hit the club and turn the shoot to a freak show. Look through the peephole, everybody geek, yo. Need to get girl with an extremely deep. See six midgets that be fighting, juggling. Maybe it's just me, cause my mind is struggling. Babes, boyfriend is acting like a clown. Know what's going down every time that we in town. Take a look through the peephole, yo. Everybody's getting geek, bro. Stop the hate and let them neeks know that we turn the club into a freak show. Turn the club to a freak show. Turn the club to a freak show. Turn the club, yeah, we turn the club to a freak show. To a freak show.
According to their mission statement in atlantapride.org, it says, "Welcome to Atlanta Pride. We're Georgia's longest running nonprofit dedicated to serving the LGBTQ+ community. Since 1971, we've been driving a force for change, advocating for the queer community, and offering resources on gender and sexuality throughout the southeastern US. Every October, we throw the biggest party in town, the Atlanta Pride Festival. It's the nation's largest free pride festival, with a massive parade that energizes the streets. But that's not all we do. Atlanta Pride runs a year-round schedule of educational, social, and cultural events to keep the community engaged and inspired. We also give back through partnerships with other organizations and grant-making initiatives to support local LGBTQ+ causes. Whether you're a Pride veteran or new to the scene, we're here to make you feel welcome. Join us for a year-round of learning, fun, and community. Let's celebrate Pride together." It helps bring people who are within or supporting the LGBTQ+ cause together in a large party rather than a riot or a protest. Their mission is to amplify diverse voices, foster meaningful connections, and celebrate the rich cultural expressions that unite and uplift our community. Where their vision is a thriving Pride community where all identities are valued, history is celebrated, and future is equal and liberating. With values, diversity of individuals, history and rich legacy of their culture cementing today and future, inclusivity of all spaces and identities that are safe, and transparency with openness, honesty, and accountability are included with every breath of Atlanta Pride. Hey. I'm shy. I'm just shy as hell. Big gay giveaway. Let's try and talk about what it means to be LGBTQ+. These individuals differ from the typical identity of being straight. A straight individual is a heterosexual person who is attracted to the opposite sex. Most parents are heterosexual, a male and a female who love each other, and so on. You may or may not be surprised, but I've been asked or heard people ask if Pride events prohibit straight people, which is not true at all. Straight people have their place in Pride and LGBTQ plus spaces, especially as allies. Being an ally can be your support for any and all parts of the community where they may not be sexually in the spectrum, but want to support the people there, or their friends, family, siblings, and advocate for the rights and liberties for the community. People of all the spectrum of the queer community gather here. Note spectrum here. Not a black or white, heterosexual, homosexual look of things, but you can be more than just homosexual. Going through the letters of the LGBTQ+, L is for lesbian, female x female, G is for gay, male x male, B is for bisexual, not having a preference of woman over man or man over women, T is transgender, a very large and important group in the community with a lot of definitions, nuances, and interpretations, but a general classification of someone who does not align with their sex at birth. Q is for queer, or questioning. Queer is an intentional rejection of labels and binaries, not wanting to be slotted into one or the other with certain parts of the community, while questioning is someone who is exploring or unsure what their sexual orientation or gender identity may be, emphasizing self-discovery and fluidity. I is for intersex, people who are born with physical sex characteristics that doesn't fit typical definitions of male or female, challenging the idea that there are only two biological sexes, and showing that male and female are not absolute categories, breaking the binary. A can refer to asexual, aromantic, or agender. Asexual people experience little to no sexual attraction, aromantic experience little to no romantic attraction, and agender identify with no gender or with a gender-neutral state. These also break the binaries, including the binary of there being only two sexes. There are plenty of more orientations, so why not run through a quick few? There are sexual and romantic orientations that can include pansexual, omnisexual, demisexual, and gray sexual/gray romantic. Gender identities such as non-binary, gender fluid, bigender, genderqueer, demiboy/demigirl, or intergender. Cultural identities can include queer, gender non-conforming, drag queen/king/performer, and androgynous. Breaking monogamy is another thing that happens within the community. Monogamy is the practice of state of having a sexual relationship with only one partner at a time. There are many ways that it can happen. Polyamory and ethical non-monogamy are very common practices here, where some may feel that they are better loving and involving in multiple relationships with everyone's consent. There are many ways that this can be performed, such as a throuple, where three people date each other and they feel loved in each other equally, or a V relationship, where one person dates or is in love with two people, but the two others don't feel much between each other, again, at everyone's consent. Queer families and communal love is another idea, where a web or network of love and care where everyone wants to broaden intimacy and include friendships, often to form bonds with each other. Open relationships are more common as well, where two partners are in love with each other but allow sexual or romantic partners outside of the main partnership, again, at everyone's consent. This is sometimes shown in footage, but kinks are present and open within the community and Pride. It is hard to avoid this part of the community, and I know YouTube doesn't often like talking about this, but adults over 18 can engage in this activity. But public groups such as Atlanta Pride, which are aimed to be more family friendly, prohibits the explicit show of sexual kinks. Although, there are suggestive aspects that aren't explicitly sexual. Footage I caught shows some of this, which includes things such as chains, harnesses, leather, and other things. Undergarments can be sold at the booths and a lot more, funnily enough. Pup hoods and other unique forms of kink expression exist and are found around Atlanta Pride. The queer community is within news outlets and the event itself. Expression. And transgender people, the way some people are here want to express, and they are not going away than others. It would be hard not to know who they are unless you've been living under a rock. So, to give you an explanation, they are individuals whose gender identity differs from the sex they were assigned at birth. Talked about in news, in social medias, and they exist in internet subspaces and internet subcultures. They break the binary in a way where they represent the diversity and complexity of gender. Trans people can identify with more than being a man or a woman, depending on their sex assigned at birth, even non-binary or genderqueer. These individuals can choose to transition socially, medically, or not at all, and it's unique for each individual. A big reasoning for such a change is the importance of gender within society, and what roles or such that you may fall into. Gender is deeply personal, and shaped by how they understand themselves. Drag is huge in Atlanta. Performances, events, and raves would have people dressed up as drag all the time. With the makeup and dresses, it is an extravagant sight to see a unique representation of gender at birth. Does not drag is a performance art that uses costumes, makeup, and other tools to present exaggerated forms of gender expression to critique gender inequalities and imagine a transformational future where people are truly free in how they express themselves, from the HRC website and Understanding Drag. It is sometimes family-friendly expression and part of the community, including a drag story hour to read stories to children, or the show RuPaul's Drag Race, a show that focuses on a lot of drag and performance. And there are more mature sides of drag as well, where the individuals go on stage to share jokes, to do improv, dance to songs, or other things. In Atlanta, people gather around to dance, vibe, and enjoy these things and these drag performers who would put on for everyone. Besides drag, there are more niches that involve themselves heavily in the LGBTQ+ community. Have you seen any dark colored masks, often with leather, that look like snouts and ears covering people's heads? Well, those are pup masks and are in the pup community. I don't know a whole lot, so I don't want to dive too far into it, but these are people who enjoy the feeling of having an expression similar to that of a dog, or enjoy the feel of wearing a pup hood. This often involves role-playing, which is a large part of it, preferring to show loyalty to those that they love or have playful behavior, and more. Another subculture in the queer area are furries, a global subculture made up of people who are interested in anthropomorphic animals with human traits, think like Zootopia or Disney's Robin Hood, for example. There's things like costume creation called fursuits, and where one can roleplay as the character of their choosing, whether they made up the character themselves or something else. One of my friends was one of the few who wore a full bodysuit to Atlanta Pride, and the community invites creativity and freedom of expression in unique and abundant ways, employing the embodied form of selfhood in an imaginative way. On the last day of the event, the Pride Parade was hosted, blocking a part of Atlanta for representation and fostering unity, visibility, and wellness among the queer community. Back in 1971, the first Pride event was the Atlanta Pride Parade, and it has been hosting since then, starting as a protest and evolved into a celebration and advocacy for the queer community. The point of the parade is to give a space for education, political engagement, and community connection, and contributes year-round for cultural, social, and philanthropic programs. You may see some political figures representing themselves in the parade, potentially to improve engagement in the race that they're in. People around are also given handouts, including clothing or candy, pamphlets, and more. There are many more things, like people who play music, show off their hobbies like cars, or include. Unfortunately, during the parade I had to dip it to make it to my flight. There were plans for a lot more sections walking down the street that I could not show or give my opinion on in the Pride Parade. All in all, the Atlanta Pride event was an incredible experience that has shown me that I am not alone, and people similar to me
different
are
cultures
everywhere and
so
express
much
themselves
more.
in events such as these. Granted, my perspective is limited to some capacity, and I did have to do a lot of research, and there's a lot more that I did not show, and a lot more to the LGBTQ plus community that I could not go into in this video. If you want to go to a Pride event but can't go to this one, there are likely annual Pride events going on in your state or in your area if you search on the internet. There are places such as pride.com, gaypridecalendar.com, or Gay City's Pride Finder that can be a tool if you desire a surreal experience similar to Atlanta Pride. Well, I hope you enjoyed. I enjoyed sharing my experience with Atlanta Pride and the community, and until next time, see ya!